Colorado is currently trying to find a smart way to reform their education, their public education specifically. And one of their great ideas that has been proposed, but it has not been approved yet, is to get rid of some of the subjects that are unnecessary. You know, sometimes it feels as though students are wasting their times with subjects that aren't going to be useful in their day-to-day lives. So the two subjects that they're focusing on getting rid of, possibly, include social studies and science.
Jesus Christ, man, we've hit the bottom of the barrel.
We really have.
I mean, we're not, like, I remember when my high school got rid of humanities. It was actually the year after I left, and they told me about it. Humanities was my favorite course, and it was, we learned about Socrates, we learned, you know, we read Thoreau, we did all these fascinating things. It was one of the best learning experiences I had. And I was devastated they were taken away because I thought I went to a great public high school, and they were taking something away from future generations. But it's a whole different thing when you take science away.
Right.
Science, social studies. Jesus, what's left?
It blows my mind that anyone would think this is a good idea. Now, again, you guys have to pay attention to the caveat because it's important. This hasn't been approved. This was one of the many proposals that they're working through in the process of reforming their public education there. So it is entirely possible that they won't go through with this very, very terrible idea. But what they're trying to do is find like a uniform curriculum for the entire state, because the way Colorado does things with their public education is kind of different from other states. In fact, according to the Denver Post, Colorado is the only state whose constitution puts control of curriculum entirely with local districts. So they're like, okay, so what can we do to make it more uniform? It'll be easier to kind of keep track of these students. Oh, we know we can get rid of certain subjects. Now, part of the rationale behind that is we want to get them prepared for college, and if they want to get into a good college, they're not going to get tested on social studies and science. They're going to get tested on math and English. In fact, again, according to the Denver Post, support exists to remove competency in science and social studies as a condition of high school graduation. The rationale, state law requires the guidelines aligned with state college admissions requirements, which cover only math and English. Who cares if that's all they cover? Just because you get tested in only math and English before you go to college doesn't mean that all the other subjects don't matter. Science is incredibly important. So
this is teaching to the test
Yes.
on steroids. And the problem is when you set up incentives, people get obsessed by those incentives. And so for a long time in this country, we've been judging teachers and schools by how well the kids do in tests. They have now become so obsessed with those tests, they're basically saying, in this particular case, everything else be damned.
Yep.
We don't care how important it is. We're not really trying to educate your kids. We're just trying to, you know, get a better grade for ourselves so that we get more funding, we protect our jobs, and all the things that go along with that. So this is a disastrous development. I thought for a second that it might be political, you know. Mm-hmm. If you're fundamentalist, and by the way, some parts of Colorado are incredibly fundamentalist, well, you know, then you're pretty happy to take away science. You know, just science, evolution, you know. So I don't know if that's the case here. It appears mainly to be just obsessed about the test.
Yes, the proposed reductions in cut scores, including the AP and IB, stem from the group's conclusion that the bar should be college readiness, not success.
Isn't that amazing?
What the hell kind of education system says our prerogative is not success? It's all about getting into college. That doesn't mean that you're successful. Success is important.
Yeah, no, not to them, because that doesn't affect their job.
It's amazing.
So that's them saying, I don't care about the students at all. All I care about is the metrics that people use to judge me as an administrator.
Yeah.
It's really gross.